All right, welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max. And I am your host, Sean Garmer. Here with me, as always, Mr. Marc Morrison.
Howdy.
And of course, we are the official video games podcast of WTNet.com and in partnership with Eastward on gaming. And we will be back right after this.
Hi, this is Natalie Lander, voice of Kinsey, Tara Branford, Stargirl, and many others. You are listening to a W2Mnet podcast. You can visit W2Mnet.com for other podcasts about entertainment, video games, sports, and wrestling. You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
All right, so Marc, it has been another week in video games, and I feel like we have now hit the part where I think you can say the fall season is upon us. There is a ton of things to be out there playing, and a lot of things to choose from. Here you go.
And you gave me the hottest game of the fall to review.
Yeah, right. To be fair, I did hear back on Lost Judgment, but of course, as per usual, we have to wait until pretty much probably the day of launch. I'm doing the same, waiting on Kena Bridge of Spirits. Ember Labs did come out and say that they did not expect this explosion of people wanting to play the game, apparently, and that they may not even get to certain people back until the game has fully launched. So we'll, I guess, may not know for a couple of days after launch, if that at all. So, but plenty of things to come from here and there. So let's get on with it. Marc, I mean, there has been a big beta for a certain Call of Duty, which gonna come out and say that I think I'm going to join a lot of people and look, we cannot go and say that nothing of what Activision Blizzard has done in any of this is okay and should be accepted. But I think, they're still in their ongoing legal battle and everything. But this is still people, and there are a lot of people that are working on this Call of Duty game that have nothing to do with what happened.
I would say most of them, because this isn't a Blizzard game, so
right. Again, most of the problem that happened with the Activision Blizzard thing was Blizzard, not necessarily Activision.
I think someone came out of Blizzard and said, like, "Hey, Diablo 2 is still cool because we didn't make it." I think they said like Vicarious Visions made it. And it's like that's a interesting statement to put out a week before launch.
Who knows? I think Diablo is a different thing because, again, it's a Blizzard property, regardless of whether you want to say Vicarious Visions made that or not.
Yeah.
I think it's different. Activision, to be fair, this is kind of what they wanted. They're distancing their name away from the Call of Duty franchise right now. And for now, it is working. So
right.
The beta is now open. I think when you were in it, it was an invite only with codes. How do you feel anything towards this beta that you've been playing?
I mean, I only played a few matches so far. It seems faster than like Cold War did. Like as far as like moving around and like, it seems just kind of peppier overall. Like you can like mounting is quicker or like vaulting and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, but it's still World War II stuff, so I'm just not that interested in like the guns. Personally, I played like one kill confirmed. We won that. I played like one domination. We won that, and then I played this one called, I forget what it was called. But it was like 20 people versus 20 people. It was like insane.
I mean, so yeah, I was going to say, for people that didn't, have no idea this is going on, or don't know what's entailing in this thing. It's a multiplayer, right?
Yeah,
The beta. Okay.
it's only multiplayer. Yeah.
Right. So like does it have different modes, or is it all the same one? Or
It's kind of some of the regular modes. Hard point. I think Team Deathmatch is in there somewhere. And then kill confirmed, which is like, kill someone and pick up their dog tag, and then domination, which is like you have 3 points on the map and you have to like win that. You have to control them to get points. The one that is new that I couldn't remember earlier is called Patrol Zone, and I think that's like there's a hard point on the map that's like constantly changing or like moving around, and they have to like be inside of it to have points. But like when I played it, it was like 20 people versus 20 people. It was like nuts. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to work normally, but like normally it's like 6-on-6.
That seems like a lot of people.
Yeah, like you'd like load in, and like within 5 seconds be killed because by someone else. So it's like this is really crazy because I don't know what's really even going on. Yeah. And it's funny because like they're still putting out stuff for Call of Duty Cold War. Like right. There's a Judge Dredd costume pack and gun pack I really want to pick up because I
saw that today.
Yeah, I like Judge Dredd, and it's like, well, if I buy this, is this going to transfer over to this thing or Vanguard? It's like I doubt it. I think they said it's going to work for their battle royale, whatever the hell that thing's called.
Right.
And it's like that. Okay, I don't care about that though.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's goofy or not. I mean, I'd rather just have Dredd in this thing also. Like, why not? Like, who cares? But yeah, I want Dredd. I mean, they've done guest characters also with John Rambo and John McClane. So hey, why not John Dredd?
Makes sense. Yeah, why not?
Actually, it's Joe Dredd, but whatever. But yeah, it's like the beta's a little. I wouldn't say unstable, but I noticed like some graphical issues, and like I was in the third floor of like one building, and I kept like kind of clipping through the floor, and then like respawning like right where I should have been. Yeah. But I'm like, this is a little unfinished. It's like all right. But yeah, regular. It's Call of Duty. I mean, like I said, it's quicker, but like the announcer is really annoying because he just constantly was talking. Charlie Point has been taken over. Go get it. And it's like, all right, dude, I can look at the map and tell. Like, you yelling at me doesn't help. Isn't exactly fun. I mean, I'll probably play it because I don't know if we'll get the review code or not, but that'll be my game. So.
Yeah, I mean, you're the one that usually deals with that.
Yeah.
To be fair, so.
Although I haven't talked to those people in like a year, so who even knows if they're still on the game or not?
I mean, I'd imagine that they're still there doing the.
They're probably begging for people now to review the game, or
So actually, I don't think that you really need to do that. Honestly, most people are. You still got, so many people that are going to be wanting to review that game, and not to mention it, like what it does for SEO and websites and everything else is insane at this point. So, you shouldn't really expect anything different right now. I think, especially now that it's kind of become a little bit more accepted to be doing. So we shall see when it comes down to it, but I think it's really hard when it comes to the actual game coming out and everything, not to be like, let's review it. Let's not talk about it,
Right.
So anything else that you have been playing here?
Two fun things. Me and Jens played Overcooked. That was funny because like the first 3 or 4 levels, he was trying to we got like the 3 stars in it. We did pretty well. And then by like the 6th level, because I'm of the mind, like, let's just get through these levels, I don't care about like perfecting them or anything like that. But like, no, he's all about perfecting the levels. By the 6th level, he stopped that because the game actually got hard.
Yep, that happens. So are we talking about Overcooked 1 or 2 that you guys played?
Well, the all you can eat edition, or whatever the hell on PS5. I think that's like all three of them actually.
Okay, yeah.
We got to like the third world, like the ice world. It's pretty good, but I mean, yeah, it is hard. And you have to like really coordinate with your partner. The one bad thing is well, he was hosting, and there's no way to switch. Like some levels, like you're locked off from the other chef, and that's like the whole thing. So he would have to like dice the vegetables and then put them on the table or the counter so I could like cook them and then give them back to him. But there's no way to switch places. Even from the start, it would have been nice to say like, "Hey, I want to do this side. My teammate can do the other side." But there's no way to do that unless like maybe if like I was hosting, like I would have had, the
right, the one player
side.
and 2 players start at certain ends.
Yeah.
And then you eventually have to kind of like meet in the middle, and then.
But there are some levels that you never meet. So like
the one where you're in the rafts or in the water.
Yeah.
And you're obviously divided or whatever. Yeah, that one.
Well, one was like we were in a big square that was basically divided in the middle, by like a wall, and around the square was like a conveyor belt. So he was supposed to like chop up the ingredients and put them on the conveyor belt for me to grab, cook, and deliver to like the customer, but he couldn't coordinate the cookie, the chopping and like putting him on the conveyor belt correct or well. So like it's just like if I could have done that, he could have just handled cooking and like doing that stuff. That would have been way easier. But it's fun. Yeah, I liked it. I don't know if we'll go back to it or not, but we'll see.
I mean, it's a fun game that I even got to play, with family, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. I mean, it was frustrating for my mom and I to get used to, but they kind of got the hang of it by the end. So I was proud of them for going forward at least.
Yeah. The last thing is I ordered a Super Gameboy 2 from Japan like last week, and I got it this week. Yeah. And that's a Super Nintendo thing. It's a Super Game Boy. They made a sequel that comes in a really cool blue-looking cartridge and is like slightly better. And I only have one Game Boy game. I just bought it like 2 weeks ago. Link's Awakening, like Legend of Zelda. And I also got a regular Japanese Super Game Boy. So, and I have a regular Nintendo Super Game, like a regular American one also. So I have 3 of these goddamn things, and that's cool, but my copy of Link's Awakening was broken.
Oh, no.
Basically, I think the battery was dead. Because when I loaded it up the first time, there were saves on it. Like, just very basic named saves. And I turned it off, turned it back on. There was nothing on it. And I was like, okay. Turned it off again, turned it back on. And then at that time, I could see Link on the save select screen, but I couldn't see anything else. Like the entire background was gone or missing. And I'm like,
wow.
All right.
And you have just the worst luck with saves.
Yeah. Well, I was like, well, okay. I turned it, I kept switching different Super Game Boys. I have 3 different Super Nintendos. I tried all of them. Like they did the same thing, kind of. The Super NT I didn't even work at all with this thing. But so like one time it worked. I got I got like empty saves and I saved a game or, started the game up. Just went through like the first like tutorial house essentially. Turned it off, turned it back on. And my save was like corrupted because it had a bunch of like garbage characters in the name and I had full hearts. Like all 20 of them or whatever. And I selected it and the game crashed. And I'm like, all right, yep. So I returned that game. That's still kind of, that was like a $30 game. I was like, I don't want this.
Definitely don't want something that's
I guess it's a common enough problem with Zelda specifically. Like that is not a unknown issue. So it's like, cool. Nice to know these 30-year-old batteries, really last. But Super Game Boy is cool. Or it was a Super Game Boy 2, I should say. And
yeah,
I'm playing Resident Evil Village again. I just got the infinite ammo Magnum, so that's fun.
Yeah, helps when you got infinite ammo there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I was using a shotgun until I just was able to afford the Magnum, and I was like, all right, screw this. I'm going to use this Magnum now. How's Tails?
Yeah, Tails is, I've gotten further in it. I've been having to do some writing stuff, so I wasn't able to just spend every single time that I had playing it. I've also had to split time, at least today, playing something else, and I'm like juggling between like 5 different games at the moment. So trying to give each one of them like some time is difficult. It's not easy.
I'm playing one, if that, or
Yeah. I mean, this is what sucks is like when you get like all these codes in or whatever, and they're all kind of like slammed really close to each other. It's like, well, I'm definitely not going to be sitting there spending all that time,
right?
Like playing each one of these, but I'm going to be spending time with what I can, and it's certainly something that like you have to kind of learn to deal with. It's not easy,
right?
But what I have played at Tales, I got to the second town, I guess you would say, and got the mage character that I had played with in the demo extensively. So getting to kind of use the character that I'm most comfortable with helps because she's long range and I can kind of like keep track of what's going on in the battle and everything. But when you're not playing as the healer character, she does a pretty good job of healing. Shion does. So I haven't gotten everybody yet. If you play the demo, you'll meet everyone and they're all there immediately. But working our way through, I've really been enjoying it. Of course, the combat helps. It's very fun, and there's a lot to explore there. At least there's little pathways to go through and get things, and go down these essential like forest-based, basically ladders and all that kind of stuff. I'm enjoying the story too. There seems to be a lot more talking, I guess, than I know Berseria was kind of lauded for its story as well, at least for how dark it got. So, but thinking about we haven't had one since then, really.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful. It looks great. I mean, it definitely feels like it takes advantage of having the newer systems. I mean, obviously, it doesn't look. It's still a PS4, Xbox One game, so there's limitations.
Yeah, but like
it looks good.
Berseria was 2016, so that was 5 years ago.
Yeah, definitely. And even then, like Berseria wasn't really made for the PS4.
That was a PS3 game.
It was a PS3 game, yeah. So this is the first one that you're kind of really getting to see what it could look like.
Right.
And props also to adding Koodle in the game. Or when you get Rinwell, she has a little owl that is along with her. That's really cute. So, yeah. And there's fishing. So you can never go wrong with having fishing in your RPG. As well. I've found the fishing spot or one of the fishing spots, but I haven't gotten to actually fish yet. But
yeah,
I love the combat. I love the boost stuff. I love the how the characters interact with each other. There's bonding also when you go camp out too. And all the little skits that they have some of them are pretty funny. I've really been enjoying this game. I just don't want to like rush through it, but I have to get to at least a certain point. My goal is to at least get to where I get all the characters and see how that goes, and then I might have to start reviewing it from there because too many games, can't sit there and play 80 hours of one game and then have to play everything else. But yeah, definitely if you've thought about it, if you're a little bit unsure, I think you should definitely go with getting Tales. I don't think you're gonna go wrong in going with that, at least in my view, anyway.
Yeah.
The other game that came out, well, it'll be 2 days old now, on the 16th, on Thursday, which is kind of a weird day considering, but Xbox also dropped about like 3 or 4 different games on Game Pass that day as well. But this is a Switch and PC only at the moment. It's called Eastward. It definitely takes it definitely wants you to know where the influences come from. And immediately from the art style, like what it looks like. It has a great, very cinematic, like anime, almost like an old school, like an older anime type cinematic at the beginning that looks great. And then you get to the like actual pixelated, which there's a lot of Earthbound in this game. There's a lot of where the influences are Earthbound and Zelda pretty much. And for me, that's something right up my alley because I've been enjoying the Zelda games and definitely has the Zelda combat, including the basically the rupees. It has you can tell what it's the rupees, and hearts are your life, and you can
currency.
Well, they're not your currency; they're your health, and you can actually increase those with how you do in the game. The puzzles are pretty simple. It's like moving around and moving boxes around or hitting this, or it's not anything out of this world or whatever, but I think it gets the job done. You're kind of controlling 2 characters, this little boy named Sam, and then this guy that looks like sort of like a homeless guy, and John, that apparently he picked her up as an orphan, and they're kind of living together and dealing with it. And even from the beginning, I think I've gotten through the prologue in chapter 1, and it's still very it's very heartwarming and very just to see where they come from just from there is I know I'm gonna wind up liking the game, so
yeah,
I want to keep playing more of it. So that's the problem. It's like not only did I get a bunch of things to review, it's a bunch of things that I like. So it's like trying to figure out, do I keep playing this? Do I go back to this? So it's like each time I want to play, I play something, I'm like, oh man, I just want to spend more time with it. And then, so it's not easy, but it's good that all the stuff that's coming out now, and it's stuff's worth checking out for sure. I have played a little bit more of the Artful Escape, but there's not really a whole lot more to really say about that right now for me. And like, it's on Game Pass. Go check it out. If you don't have Game Pass, it's still I think a really good game if you like it's a platformer and you like music, and there's some not good themes in there too that I think are worth checking out if you like those story-based games. So check that out too. But yeah, hopefully by the time we get to next week, we'll know where we stand with Lost Judgment and especially Kina, and maybe we'll have gotten to play some of those, and we'll get to talk about that next week. But that will, unless you have anything else to.
Nope. I got WRC 10, but I haven't played it yet.
I figured so. That's fine.
Look for my
there's not much different from WRC 9, so
look for my fine replaced WRC 9 reviews coming soon.
So just to get this going here with this, we talked about Call of Duty Vanguard. They sort of already talked. It's been rumored and kind of heavily hinted at, and due to a data mine on GeForce Now as well, which we'll talk about more later. The next Call of Duty is going to be a sequel to Modern Warfare. Big shocker there, Mark.
Yeah. I don't like these like lazy retreads or like lazy reboots.
I mean, like they went back to World War II, and people were kind of like, I don't know if we want to do that anymore. And then
Yeah.
now we're going back
Like,
to Modern Warfare, which, to be fair, is one of the most popular games ever. So I
yeah.
can't really blame them for going down that well twice.
It was a popular game from 2007. Like, you know.
Yeah, but the
It's
reboot did even crazier numbers.
well, it's just like when EA kept like reusing Need for Speed titles, like Most Wanted and like Hot Pursuit. It's like there are
Yeah.
other racing titles, or racing subtitles out there. Pick one.
Right.
But I didn't play that reboot Modern Warfare. I don't know. I doubt you did. I mean, so I have no real opinion in either way. But sure, why not? They got nothing else going on.
Yeah, I mean, they want to go to. Again, I can't blame them for going to a well that they know well, that they nailed the first time. So why not try to do it again?
Yeah.
But it is kind of just sad to see we're just going back to that. Like, okay, we're just going back to what we know now. We're not going to try to really do something different. But to be fair, when they have kind of tried to do different things, it hasn't always worked out for them. So I guess they are kind of in the play it safe mode.
I mean, the only game that kind of bombed was Ghosts, and that was, I mean, I guess Infinite Warfare didn't do too well, but like,
yeah, Infinite Warfare, I remember a lot of people not liking.
I mean, that swung too much in like the sci-fi genre, or
yes,
you're literally like dogfighting in space.
That was when a lot of things were trying to be like, oh, let's do space, everybody.
Yeah,
like maybe not, and say we did.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And like the story in that game was like also terrible. So, yeah, I mean, if they want to do it, I mean, sure, but I just think there are better, or there are more interesting games out there, or environments out there that could be doing.
Yeah, true. I'm not gonna. I'll agree with you there. There are things that they could be doing that would better serve them. Yeah, to say the least. But
yeah,
that's where they're at right now. They have to kind of do that. Well, we go from the expected to the certainly unexpected. Marc has mentioned on this show several times how much he likes Wipeout.
Yep.
And, well, I don't think anybody expected to have Wipeout come back on mobile, of all things, and then also have it come back in card game form.
Yeah, they showed a trailer, and it looks like your ship pilots itself, and I think you like break out cards for like special attacks, or maybe like activating boost or something. It looks awful. The response was not
trailer right now. If you're watching on video,
yeah, the response is not super positive online.
Yeah,
just to put it bluntly, like actually, like the graphics don't look terrible for an iPhone game or for a mobile game, but it's just like this is like
and it runs 60 frames.
Yeah, but it's like it's an auto game, so it's like who cares? That's still why. And I think I saw like the studio, like someone from the studio going like, or it was like some PR person maybe.
Well, it was so IGN has the dibs on this because a former IGN writer, I think, is one of the people in the creative seat for this, and he was just basically saying that they are happy to be able to bring this to mobile and everything, and it's like, I don't know that people really wanted this, but sure, whatever.
Well, it's also funny since we just mentioned like last week that Sony bought that studio Fire Team or Fireside.
Yeah, they bought the Liverpool studio that was the one making.
Yeah,
the
old
Wipeout
Wipeout
games.
games.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I saw like some rumor that like, oh, this is a test bed for like a Wipeout relaunch or like a proper Wipeout, and it's like,
Is it?
no, because like that's a
Yeah.
faulty premise because no one wants this game because it's going to bomb immediately.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I don't understand. Like, if you're Sony, I get it that they wanted to make that foray into mobile games. And I also understand wanting to use franchises that people kind of know from having a name. And maybe this does well, but it's, man, talk about, to me, I feel like it's different than, having a Fire Emblem Heroes, like what Nintendo has. Like, at
Well, even
least that game is still sort of that game.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, even
But
like
you have the gotcha stuff, right?
even like all the Nintendo stuff, like they aren't like the best mobile game, but they're competent and they are at least somewhat emulate like the original game. Like
Right.
Mario Run, he runs, I don't think that's a great game, but it's serviceable enough.
Right.
But
It's
like,
something you could see Mario doing,
yeah,
right?
and it's like this, like if you didn't know what it was, or you just divorced from like all the HUD, you'd be like, okay, it's a new crappy looking Wipeout game. But then it's like, oh, it's on an iPhone, and you're using cards to like activate your weapons. It's like, huh?
Yeah. No, I
I,
get you
I
there.
I want there to be a mod where like this game and the deck from Midnight Suns gets mixed up. So like you just have like Adamantium Slash in this game and go like, what's going on?
It's like, I get that having cards and things seems to be such a
I think it
big
works.
deal at this point.
I mean, I think it works, but only in like very certain game types or game systems
I
or
mean, it's
franchises.
possible that it could work in like Midnight Suns,
That actually
right?
looks
But
relatively. That looks way more understandable than this thing. Let's
oh
say
yeah,
that. Hmm.
I'll agree with that. It looks a lot better than that. But it's just, man, you don't have to use that in everything.
Yeah.
Just to try to get that point across or whatever. And it's just,
I had a weird. It's funny because like when this was posted, I saw a friend of mine post it, and I think she works somewhat in. I don't know if she's like PR or games or what, but she posted a link, and I just reacted. I'm like, this looks terrible. Like or it's like Wipeout should have stayed dead. And her response was like, it was on Twitter. She said like, "Oh, thanks," and I was just like, "What?" Like, I was really befuddled by her comment. I was like, "This wasn't. I don't even know if you're working on this thing or not. And if you are, I apologize, but like, no one wanted this." So,
right. But like, I think the thing is to like get such a negative reaction from the start.
like, the
Probably.
main YouTube trailer got like privatized or taken down or something. So, I think the IGN one is still up, and I mean, there's like mirrors up now, but it's like, I should tell you something right there. Like,
Yeah, definitely. I think it's crazy that like Sony didn't really. It feels like Sony didn't really embrace this that much either.
well, I didn't even see like a Sony logo. I mean, it might be like right at the
They
very
put
end.
some trademarks, I think, at the end, right?
Yeah,
But
but it's not like, oh,
it's
from the
weird that
minds at
Sony
Sony.
itself didn't embrace this. They didn't make a big deal about it. It's like almost like oh well, we kind of let somebody have the Wipeout, name and
IP or
everything, and
yeah.
see if they could do something with it. I bet if it does well, they'll sit there and promote it and everything else. But I think they kind of want to keep their name out of it just in case it bombs or you keep getting this reaction
Yeah.
that they've been getting at the moment for that, which I
I mean,
guess
why not
smart play by Sony. But
just make like a Crash Bandicoot Endless Runner, or why not? Or it's a Crash Bandicoot
that would make more sense at this point.
the Crash Bandicoot Temple Run skin or something,
Well, didn't they make one?
Yeah, a while ago. I mean,
Okay, I was about to say I thought they made a Crash in this runner, but yeah, it just to me it doesn't make any sense of why do this. But best of luck to the team that's making it. Hopefully that they will find success in it, and maybe it does turn into something. Maybe it does turn into something where it could lead to a Wipeout, but I don't see it. That's really rare that because the mobile game succeeded, we're now getting a full-on console game when it started as a console game to begin with. So, moving along to something that was sort of surprising as well is Cory Barlog kind of coming out and saying that he is going to end the Ragnarok. It's going to all end with Ragnarok, the Norse version of God of War. The arc that whatever this is going to be is going to end with this game, because quote, he doesn't want it to be 15 years just to get a third game, just to have this be a trilogy. He goes on to say, I want to be able to have my kids be able to experience the full-on God of War before they go to college also, which I can kind of understand from that point of like, it takes 5 years to make these games, Mark. Like, to sit there and go, oh, we're going to plan out this story with a third one already in mind.
Well, hey, EA can crank out a Madden every year, and we can make Call of Duty can make Activision can make a Call of Duty every year. Why not God of War every year?
If you want the game to be, not great or whatever, then sure.
I mean, I kind of understand his point, but also it's like these games. I mean, I think the development time of these games could be quicker. Like not.
No,
I
mean, look at everything that goes into it. I mean, like just look at all the voice actors they're having to pull, like the way that they captured this with the one shot. I mean, it's just that is a lot. It's a lot, man. And I like the fact that they don't just, oh, it's automatic. Every time one of these games come out, we got to have a trilogy. Because to be like, let's be honest, like Mark, it's like it kind of gets annoying sometimes, at least to me. It's like it feels like you can't have anything just end anymore. It's like gotta last for.
I mean, yeah, but the two things I would say is this isn't the end of God of War. I mean,
no, it's not. But at least he has time to figure out where he wants to go with it, and not have to kill this story to make the third game.
And the second thing I would say is the third games are usually the shitty ones in the trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, like, God of War 3 is certainly lesser than.
Well, no, that's the good one, but I'm thinking more like Dead Space 3. Oh, what is it? Uncharted 3, kind of. People weren't a fan of Dead Rising 3 that much. Mass Effect 3. Dragon Age 3. Like there are a lot of like quote unquote bummer 3s out there. So
maybe that's why Valve doesn't want to get the 3. They know it has a bad.
Does skip right to 4?
That's what you need to do. Just skip 3 altogether. You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah,
but
they just can't count that high up.
But no, I just think sometimes it's like it does hamper you in a way of having this. Oh well, we've got to. I think about it from the like Avengers, like Infinity War and Endgame, right? Like they had to figure out a way to make it to where this could be 2 movies.
Yeah.
And we've seen that with movies. This happens a lot where almost everything that comes out and is successful, it's like, okay, well, we got to make it a trilogy now because we got to make 3 movies.
I will not have you besmirch the vaunted Hangover trilogy.
Yes. So vaunted. I mean, yeah, I like the fact that he just came out and just said it. It wasn't like leaving you hanging or all that. It's
let's say let's say this game comes out next year. Like assuming it doesn't get delayed, like next year. Mm-hmm. By the time the next one rolls around, that'll be like 2028 or 2027 or something. That's a long ass time to to wait for another one. I mean, what do you think the next game is, though?
That's the point too.
Well, what do you think the next game is then? Like Last of Us 3? Another Uncharted? I'm kind of done. I'm kind of done personally with Last of Us. I didn't even finish that second one, so or just something new. Like I'd hope for something new because it's like, I don't want to have you guys keep cycling the 30 same franchises over and over.
What do you think about what our, again, if you're listening on audio, I apologize, but we being live, we do get comments sometimes, and we got a comment here that's saying Ragnarok looks like DLC, to be honest.
I mean, you can say that about most sequels. I mean, but also this is like a really good looking one, so it's immaterial. Like I wonder
if the idea was to perhaps have it be DLC at one point, like Miles Morales, right? And then maybe the ideas kept flowing, and they just said, let's just make it into a...
I mean, that was like Fallout New Vegas.
Right.
That didn't work out that well, but I mean, that was that game.
I mean, Fallout New Vegas is a very cult following. A lot of people love
Fallout New Vegas. It's well received for the writing, but the technical issues hamper that game badly.
Oh, yeah. Well, the generation that it came out on.
Yeah.
Right? That's...
Well, it's like, you're supposed to be in Vegas, and it's supposed to be like a happening town, and there's like 12 NPCs in the strip, and it's like, this is all right.
For the times, man.
They'll make another Jack X Combat racing game. That's their next one. Finally gonna take Mario Kart down.
Yeah, I doubt it. If the Nickelodeon one couldn't do it.
Yeah. It's like Smash Brothers, or their version of Smash Brothers.
Yeah, that one got an October release now. We'll see how that does. I don't think their idea is to like take out Smash Bros. Or whatever, but if they can ever be decent, I guess, then yeah, fair enough. Speaking of staying in the Sony realm here, Gran Turismo 7 is going to require an internet to be able to play the career mode. You as a driving game person, how do you feel about this?
Well, they say like, it's to prevent cheating, and it's like for single player, and it's just like, who cares? Like really,
people care a lot, Mark.
Don't
say who cares.
If it's a single, I guess they haven't said like if your single player progress translates into multiplayer progress, but it's like, okay, if you just give yourself, 1 billion credits or $1 billion in the single player, who cares? As long as there's like a wall between the two, and it's like, now that like I bought every car and I can use every car in like the multiplayer, like yes, and that's an issue. But yeah, as far as like, the single player goes, like who cares? Like if you want to cheat in your own game, I think you should be allowed to.
What is it? Is the
also it's like
only single player, or is it like one of those where you can kind of have people pop in and pop out?
See, that's what I'm not sure about. Like I don't think it'll be like that because they just don't operate like that. So
wouldn't it also mean like kind of connected, where you could have people kind of be in your world or whatever, and technically I guess you could have a friend play with you? Or
Gran Turismo doesn't have worlds, it's not like it's not Forza. I mean, Horizon does that way better, but like Motorsport doesn't do that. You just look at like a bunch of menus, and it's like, okay, I want to use this car on this track, let's go. And then there's like a whole, like you have to like multiplayer is always like a separate mode.
Yeah.
So I assume it'll be the same thing with Gran Turismo for sure. Like it's not going to be some big interconnected like racing island or anything like that. It'll just be like, no, I want to use this Viper on the Nürburgring and go from there. So that's why
I think they're saying it's also about so they can't modify save data, not just for cheating.
I mean, unless it's like I said, unless it's for like multiplayer stuff, then I think that's largely immaterial. Like And
So
I
they're
think
saying it is required completely for the campaign mode. It's also for the editor, the photo mode, the GT Cafe, and the GT Auto will require you to be connected to PSN.
see, I think
So,
they are going to introduce some type of auction house system. Uh, so like that would make it more reasonable, I guess. But like as far as like the multiplayer, I just think they'll just use like all the arcade cars,
right.
or like stock cars, or you can like futz with the tuning of them. But it's like, oh, I want this like 1991 Datsun to have a 2,000 horsepower turbocharger. Like you can't be able to do that in like the regular arcade mode or like multiplayer mode. Like, and
Yeah.
also like I don't I guess I would be more reticent. I don't think that compared to Forza, like Gran Turismo is like a on the road type of game to play. You know,
Right.
like you want more for Gran Turismo. You want like your driving wheel, your whole like racing cockpit at your house to play the game.
To be fair, you want that for Forza as well. Forza
But
Motorsport.
it's not as like ingrained, you know.
Yeah, to be fair.
And
I mean,
and
that is
also
what I think about with Gran Turismo. Is I think about that kind of stuff.
yeah, that is much. I mean, even like motorsport, like Gran Turismo is solely focused on like the simulation of driving, and it's like, yeah, but it's not fun for most people. That's why Forza blew you away, because they found a way to make it fun and approachable. And
So,
the last thing I would say is those servers will get slammed.
yeah,
That game will be unplayable for like the first 3 weeks of release.
of course, you know that with
Yeah.
like most online games that get slammed. So because the last two games you talked about are cross gen, right? They're both PS4 and PS5. K4, who is watching us live, thank you so much. He mentions it looks like we really shouldn't have just had. So the PS5 should have just released now instead of a year ago. If we're still getting all these cross-gen games, like as somebody we both had PS5s basically since around launch. I'll be honest. I mean, here's the difference. Like, you don't play Game Pass stuff. You don't have an Xbox. You only have PS5 and a PC. So I have, and you have a Switch as well. I have all three. So my Xbox has kind of been more used because of Game Pass as games coming out all the time. And most of my codes have been on Xbox as well as a reviewer. I mean, I've played it for Scarlet Nexus, and then you've had some other games that you played the PS5 for. I mean, do you feel like this PS5 needed to come out last year? Is he right? Or
Yeah, of course it did. They're not going to let Microsoft gain a huge advantage. Like,
okay, let's say both consoles. Could they have just waited and delayed it and had it come out this year instead?
not for me personally, because my PS4 is like slowly breaking down.
Yeah.
The PS5 stuff, exclusive stuff I've played has been more impressive than if it was going to be on the PS4.
Right.
So it's fine for me.
I mean, he also brings up as well that he feels like there should be more blockbusters taking advantage of the system. And I would say to that is that you are completely right.
Yeah, but also no launch has been great, or very few console launches are good for like the first 2 years.
Well, it's not just that. I think nobody expected COVID to happen. So nobody expected there to be this pandemic that absolutely destroys what we talk about when game dev, and having to all of a sudden decide to game dev from home and how difficult that is, and all of that. I mean, 2020, we got lucky that most of those games that came out, we still got a full year of games because those games are pretty much done. But we've seen how many of these big AAA games and even indie titles, and even how many times have I said on this show, and we've talked about, and it's been said, if you read anything or watch anything, how much of a year this has been for indie games. Why? Because the AAA games are getting delayed constantly. Battlefield 2042 just got delayed for another month. I mean, and this is a game that was just about to come out. So I think it's more about, had COVID not happened, I think we would have seen more games, and maybe Sony even, because there wouldn't be this shortage of chips. There wouldn't be these problems that we're having. And we would see, maybe you scrap the PS4 version of Horizon. Maybe you don't have a PS4 version of Gran Turismo or God of War. But I think once COVID happened and they saw what happened with people all of a sudden having to decide, all right, we can buy the console, we can buy the games, right? They're buying the games, but the console became scarce. And you can say that, yes, a lot of that has to do with scalpers and everything else, but a lot of that is also down to just they can't make them as fast as they want them for everybody to have them. So there's people going to have PS4s more than they would really want or need to, and you're still going to be making PS4 versions up until God of War, which I think God of War is the breaking point. Like, I think after God of War, we're not going to have any more big.
Well, that's what you said. They said so. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems that way. It seems like they said after, if we do have cross-gen still, which they didn't definitively say no, it would automatically have the $10 tag. So, I mean, who knows if they really are, but I think it all depends on how much more we go about eradicating the pandemic. And we thought it was getting somewhere, at least the United States, and then we had the Delta variant come and whack everyone hard here. So it's something that continues to evolve, and we'll see if maybe in 2022 we can really start seeing that here. And yep. I mean, he keeps on with what's the point of launching a cutting edge console, which with biggest games, Game of the Year contenders 2 years in, are designed based on 2013 tech. I mean, to be fair,
look at the PS4 and Xbox One launch games, even like 2 years after the fact. Like, get over it. Like,
well, I mean, it's not about. I think you have a point.
You think like Loco Cycle was a game of the year for the Xbox One?
But those aren't launch games, though. These are we're talking about games coming. Right, I'm not talking about Loco Cycle. I'm talking about the games that we're talking about here. I
mean, it's a year out, but still, it's not. Well, not even a year out. But still.
Well, God of War could get delayed again very easily. Corey Barlog pretty much almost said it. He said they're going to take the same amount of time frame as it did with God of War 1. So he's not ruling out it getting delayed again. Getting delayed the first time because it technically never had an official release date. I agree. It's same thing happened with Microsoft, right? Like, maybe after they had the catastrophe that they had, if we wouldn't have had the pandemic, maybe they would have had the gumption to cut Halo Infinite from Xbox One. But they didn't do it, right? And then make that a cloud game like they did Flight Simulator and some of these other games. But they didn't do that. So, I agree with him in that 2 years in, you're still getting stuff based on PS4, and they have to kind of account for that. But a lot of that is getting also made with I think we broke it down, right, with the Ratchet thing, that technically there wasn't really much about it that could have only been done on a PS5.
Yeah, but they want to move on.
Right.
So it's people who can't find the system, hey, sorry for you, but keep trying,
Yeah, but I do think it's good on them for still making this stuff available on the PS4. And yeah, I know everybody wants those next gen experiences.
They're supporting it longer than they did the PS3.
Yeah, true.
And once the PS4 came out, the PS3 was done, from like day one, instantly. And like Xbox, the 360 lasted a little longer, but not much longer. It was like only like the first year. And they still had like the usual sports games and crap coming out for like
the stuff that doesn't really, it's not that big a deal that it's still coming out on the other consoles. I totally get what both of you guys are saying, but I think that we need to take into account all the stuff that's happened, and I mean, at least there's a tipping point, right? At least it seems like we're moving beyond that and saying, okay, look, we're getting to the end here. So if you don't pick up a console, then soon in the next, year, that's on you at some point and then again, nobody's forcing you to buy a PS5 or a Series S or X right now. You can wait and buy it when you feel it's necessary, when you feel the games are out,
Or buy a PC. So. Keep updating that thing.
Yeah, I mean, he's saying if PS4 was the only alternative, I would understand the need for more capable tech, but I had the Pro, which for what I've seen about Horizon GT and Ragnarok is one capable of offering a great experience.
Fine.
Yeah, I mean,
fine, but like the PS5 is out, so the PS4 Pro, no matter if you got it yesterday or when it came out originally, like
right,
it's old.
But let's be fair though. Like it's the same thing of the difference between me and Jens when we went up to the Series X. I didn't buy 1X. He did, right?
Yeah.
So to him, when he moved from the 1X to the Series X, it wasn't necessarily this big jump. But for me, when I moved from an Xbox One to a Series X, the jump was huge for me.
Yeah.
So it's up to you. Like I agree with him. If you have a PS4 Pro, you're not seeing the big jump yet, really. And I get that. If you're staying on that cutting edge of the mid-tier consoles, and if we're going to have mid-tier consoles again this generation, we'll see. Again, you're not going to see the big jump that most people saw because most people didn't buy a Pro or maybe a 1X. They did.
I have the PS4 original, so yeah.
Right. So I think for the PS4, at least for the PS4s, most people didn't buy a Pro. But I get it from the people that are perspective of you had a Pro, you're not going to see that jump yet. And I get you're kind of upset you want to see that, but you just got to wait a little bit longer.
They've already moved on. So yeah.
And think about it. You're saving money. You're not having to spend $400 or $500 right now.
I mean, I'd sell the Pro. I'd sell the Pro that you have and then just get a PS5 or try.
Yeah, you could probably trade it in and still get some decent. Money.
Let's move on with the podcast itself.
Yeah, let's move on with the podcast. I agree. So moving on to I guess some movie stuff really quick here, so we can finally get out of the Sony realm. Anthony Mackie is going to be in a live action Twisted Metal TV show. We talked about them possibly making a game again last week. I mean, it has some good people involved, writers of the Deadpool films and Zombieland. PlayStation, it seems to really be all about this. They have the Last of Us show, the Uncharted movie, all that. I mean,
he's playing the aptly named character John Doe, who is a milkman who's delivering something across the country or something. That sounds dumb. I like him as an actor, so I'll probably watch like the first episode or two to see if it's good. I'm kind of curious how you do this though. Like Twisted Metal does not lend itself to a TV show necessarily.
And I could definitely see it as a movie, right? Like a one-off.
I could see it as a movie more akin to like Clue. Because did you ever see Clue?
Yes.
You know how that like in the theater they had like different theaters had different endings, but like the home release version of Clue just had like 5 endings. Like it could have happened this way or it could happen this way.
Right.
If they did Twisted Metal that way, that'd be cool. If they said like, oh, Sweet Tooth in this version, Sweet Tooth won, so this is what happened, but in this other version, Axel won or something like that.
Yeah.
And he could still be the main character. Like he could be like the first winner, but like, I don't know how he does it as a live action show, or how expensive or cheap it's going to look.
Considering Sony, I don't think it's going to look. I don't think we have to worry about it looking cheap, but it's more about are you really going to be able to make this
Good.
interesting
Yeah.
for a certain, unless you're going to make it really small, like a 6-episode thing? Or...
Yeah. I guess I'll be more interested in the cast, you know. And like this guy playing a milkman is like very, I would say very close to Sweet Tooth. Because Sweet Tooth is a guy in an ice cream truck.
Right.
And it's like, okay, ice cream truck and milkman aren't that far off. So maybe he turns into Sweet Tooth or, something like that. But sure. Did you like Twisted Metal growing up?
No, I was not a Twisted Metal guy at all.
I mean, I liked a few of them, but yeah, I just think that plays, like I said last week. So
yeah, moving from that to, I guess, something that could be anything because it's a game about a car, and technically they had a movie. So Driver, which is owned by Ubisoft. Ubisoft has also been big into wanting to do things in the movie and TV realm. They're going to have a series for it on the streaming platform Binge, which is going to be revolving around an undercover agent race car driver John Tanner, whose mission is to take down a local crime syndicate.
No, there was supposed to be a Driver movie, but it didn't happen, or it fell through.
Well, either way, I mean, this is a little bit more like open-ended because it's really it's a driving game, so you can kind of do sort of what you want with it. Yeah,
there is kind of a fiction with this game. Like I think you're always playing Tanner, or at least the main games you are, and you're always trying to find Jericho. Not Chris Jericho, that'd be way cooler, but some, bad guy Jericho. I saw the response to this, and it was basically like, who cares? Like between the two, even if I'm incredulous about Twisted Metal, I'm way more interested in that one than a Driver TV show or Driver film. Sorry, like who cares? They haven't made a Driver game in like 8 years, 9 years.
2014.
And that was actually a really good game.
Well, that was a mobile game.
No, I meant like the last real one.
Well, there was a 3DS game as well.
No, Driver San Francisco.
Yeah, Driver San Francisco, yeah.
That was, let me check real quick. That was 2011, so that was 10 years ago. Yeah. That was a cool one where you could like inhabit other people, because we were all in this guy's coma mind. So he had like coma powers.
And you could switch between vehicles. And all
yeah. I mean, if you're going to do based on that, that'd be rad, but I doubt it.
Probably not.
But I mean, Driver is like the most like generic boilerplate, cop thing you can imagine. Mm-hmm. So, and like those early, like I only liked Driver San Francisco. Those early Driver games sucked. The PS1 ones were. I mean,
I don't remember those that much because of they didn't get a lot of.
I mean, I only played the demos, but like the driving model is so crazy that it's like this is like uncontrollable. So once it moved from whoever owned them to Ubisoft, it's like okay, that's kind of a good thing, but they only made one of them, or like one real one, so that's not great.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that we're like reviving
old, yeah, well, it's like why not make some new games, Like is it cheaper to make a TV show than a game? I mean, I guess it is, but like
that's Ubisoft. I think they just want to again, like get their fingers all in different pots of being able to say, "Oh, hey."
It's that'd be like especially baffling to me because like the franchise that could really work as a TV show would be like Assassin's Creed.
I agreed there
because you have like no more than 5 minutes per episode. Let's say it's an hour-long episode or like 42 minutes or whatever. You have like no more than 5 minutes of dude in the real world being plugged into the Animus or trying to figure out how to escape, the Abstergo, and then it'd be like mainly a historical drama.
Yeah, and you could go back and forth like you did on the the first.
The movie or the first game.
Yeah, so I mean, like that's the thing. I get trying to make it a movie because it's a franchise that has the name and all that stuff, but it really could have worked more as a TV show.
Meanwhile, something like, I mean, not to draw comparisons, but like Watch Dogs, I could see that like way more as a movie because it's just a dude trying to take down like the government of a city or whatever, like, or the bad guys of a city. Like that's simple enough, but I think like Assassin's Creed, and it could like every season could be a different time period or like a different, you could age the character out like 10 years or something, or like have different actors or do whatever. But yeah, they just didn't do it, so it's like, all right, fine, I guess.
Well, fair enough. Ubisoft will keep doing their thing, just like Sony.
Where is the Rayman TV show?
Rayman TV show. Yep. I'm surprised they haven't tried to bring that back, Rayman. But also that was a Michelle until point, so that probably won't come.
I mean, they'll bring him back eventually, just because I think they actually do like Rayman as a kiddie platformer or a kiddie character.
It's a great platformer. I mean, it's not just those are great games as well. So
yeah, but it's not like ultra violent or adult themed. It's cute and stuff like that.
I agree on that. So getting into, I mentioned already, Battlefield 2042 got delayed till November. So that is COVID made this happen, and they don't feel like they were ready. This obviously is going to move to beta as well. So, and it's big game. So
I got a good friend who works in that game, and he tweeted, he was like, he tweeted something like, "Have faith, fam," and GameSpot made a column about it, and it's like, you guys are idiots. Like.
We made a column about it to say what?
His tweet saying, "Hey, have faith, fam." It's like, wow, okay. I guess really anyone can be a games news writer, huh?
No, that's
you have to scour enough Twitter feeds and.
I mean, almost everything is done with Twitter now. Let's not jump on the.
No, but the fact.
Games news writer, but.
Just the fact that his entire tweet was "Have faith, fam." It's like, jeez.
Well, it is. I mean,
I just found it funny. Like, all right.
It doesn't. It does not surprise me that somebody made a whole article based on that. But
we've had occasional chats. Me and him. The guy's name is Jim. I think it's Jim Heigel. Mm-hmm. Or maybe Jim Heil. I think it's Jim Heidel though. Where he'll say something like not bad, but he'll just kind of say something off the cuff, and I'll joke at him like, I'll be right back. I gotta make a column about this real quick.
Well, Dying Light 2 at least looks like it's in similar shape in that the CEO Paweł Marchewka said that the game is pretty much done, nearing the finish line. The game's complete, but we're currently playtesting it, and they want to give it a bit more time. So now it's coming out February 4th, 2022. Everybody is wanting to hit that January to March 2022 window. Good Lord. Let's just keep stacking the deck there with games coming out during that time. So...
I found it funny because this was like a few weeks ago, but I had a friend going like, "Oh, if they delay Dying Light 2 one more time, I'm going to scream." And like literally like 3 days later, they delayed it.
What did he expect? I was pretty sure it was not going to hit that December window. Plus, I mean, you don't want to really come out the same day as Halo, so I don't. begrudge them that. Battlefield is deciding to go a little bit more toe-to-toe with them. now they're going to come out after Call of Duty, which I guess is better for them. But now they're coming out a couple of weeks before Halo, or I think it's 3 weeks before Halo. So we'll see how that goes. It feels like it's a battle of first-person shooters again.
Right.
Let's see who wins out, even though I'm pretty sure we all know
whoever wins Titanfall 3 loses.
Don't remind me of that. So.
Yeah.
TSQ Nordic keeps doing their thing. They actually showed off games this time instead of sitting there buying
other studios. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, at least there was that to be, happy about. I don't know. What do you make of this 6-game lineup that they showed here?
All AAA heavy hitters. You got Jagged Alliance 3, which I'm shocked by. MX versus ATV Legends. A SpongeBob game, and Destroy All Humans 2. What more do you need?
Yeah, I mean, that's what everybody was
waiting for.
Yeah, exactly.
To be fair, Jens is excited for Destroy All Humans 2. And yes. I can't shit on that game too much. I mean, I just don't kind of like it, or I don't like the humor of it, but I know most of them are like fairly okay, as far as like gameplay. But like the SpongeBob game is not my cup of tea. Like it might be fine, but man, Jagged Alliance 3, like that is such a dismal franchise that I'm shocked that they're making more of them.
Well, I mean, and they have the rights to it, right? Like, I guess use it and do something with it.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's like a Mercenaries version of XCOM.
Yeah.
Like, a turn-based tactical strategy game. But, like, it's just so dire. Like, it wasn't them, but they kept pumping out Jagged Alliance games that were all just terrible. So it's like, okay, I guess.
I guess they feel like it's been enough time to where...
Yeah. They had some, like, Super Power game, or Super Power 3, or...
Yeah, Super Power 3, yeah.
I couldn't parse out what that was. They just showed a trailer of a Nixon talking, Reagan talking, or like President Ronald Reagan like look-alike talking. So yeah. I didn't know what that was. And I didn't play Outcast 1. I don't know what that is. I mean, I didn't know what this other one was either. But man, they keep pumping out this. I'm shocked they kept pumping out this MX versus ATV stuff. Like.
People tend to like it, but it's very cold, that would say.
I mean, I would say it's diminishing returns, but also, like, I know no one who plays those games. So, I mean, the ones I would think of would be, like, ATV Off-Road, the old PlayStation franchise, or MotorStorm. But
MotorStorm.
They haven't played one of those. They haven't made one of those in, 2 decades.
Isn't that a Sony thing, though?
It is, but yeah. But I mean, like that whole genre is just like, it's like the skateboarding genre. Like it used to be big,
right?
But it dried up. I mean, they made the Tony Hawk game, sure, but that's about it.
Yeah, the superpower thing looks like it might be like another one of those. I guess like a strategy game, like
yeah. I don't look like. I think I did see a picture look like Risk or look some type of like empire building game or something.
I mean, it's all cinematic, so you don't really know by the look of it. But yeah, it would seem like one of those,
right?
Like a Civ kind of thing. But there's TSQ for you, doing weird stuff sometimes.
The only thing I'm completely confident in saying is that Destroy All Humans 2 will have the $70 regular edition, the $100 steelbook, and the $400 collector's edition, and no one will give a shit about.
Yeah. So this lawsuit, as you would expect. Now, I don't think anybody thought that both of these companies were going to be okay with this ruling, especially when Epic got ruled against 9 out of the 10 counts.
That was the funny thing, is like we talked about this last week and about how Epic won, and it's like, no, they lost. Like they lost big.
Yeah, they lost, and that what they really wanted was a way to be able to have direct payment on the store, on the Apple Store, and they didn't I get that. You know,
Yeah.
they got the thing where now Apple has to like change a little bit of what they do.
Yeah, for December 9th, they can't restrict developers from like adding in like links to like external payment options.
Yeah.
But that's it. Because
and then they also like the 30% apparent. You know, the 30% part was apparently not okay by the judge, but everything else was against Epic, and so they're going to try to appeal this again. So this will continue. Saying, and they're still alleging that Apple's running a tech monopoly, which Google exists.
See, that's the weird thing is, I mean, if they didn't do it in the first place, they would have said the same thing about Steam, like, oh, Valve is running a tech monopoly. But it's like, you guys have proven that if you want to build your own system, you can and you will. So hey, make your own cell phone. They're not preventing you from doing that. Go for it. Have a Fortnite phone, or the Epic phone that plays 2 games.
Yeah, it's crazy that now, I mean, obviously Epic also doesn't want to have to pay the 30% of the $12 million that they earned from that time period where they breached contract, and also having to give them 30% of how much they earned after that with the direct method. So
yeah,
sure, I don't want to lose all that too.
I mean, yeah, but that's literally nothing to Epic at these days. So it's like, whatever. But
right.
They're fighting for like the principle of the matter. But it's like the principle of the matter is every game every platform does this. Apple's not special, at least in the grand scheme of things. They are. I mean, they're not even the number one, phone manufacturer or like phone OS. That'd be Android. So
right, only here, really, only in the United States. Everywhere else it's Android. So. For the most part, there are some countries where Apple is king as well.
But
it's very like, the number is small, like you said.
Yeah. So, I mean, believe me, I don't like Apple, but in this specific case,
trust me, I don't like Apple.
Yeah, I weigh in Apple's count in favor in this one.
Every time I have to mess with my daughter's phone, I'm kind of like, oh, what alien shit is this? Like, I don't want to mess with this at all.
I had a friend who was like, she told me, she's like, oh, I have to, how do I pay for more cloud storage on my iPhone? She has, I think, like an iPhone 8S. She's like, oh, it's almost out of storage. She only had like 5 gigabytes. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm saving all my photos to the cloud. And I'm like, why? Like, how much storage does your phone have? She didn't know.
Yeah.
I like look it up. And it's like, you have a 120 gigabyte iPhone and you're only using, 30 gigabytes. You have 90 gigabytes free.
Jesus,
save your photos on
your
this
phone.
Yeah, I'm like, who cares?
You don't, I mean, yeah, you lose it. I mean, you can back it up in the cloud if you want.
Yeah,
but what I will say is I don't have to deal with that because Samsung doesn't charge for the cloud. But whatever.
I mean, I'm sure they do at a certain point, but yeah.
So far, I haven't had a problem with it, but I mean, yeah, it is what it is.
But, I think I said, don't like Apple, but I like Epic less. So,
I mean, this isn't really that much of news. This has been talked about before. Microsoft itself said that there would be different versions of the Seagate card. This is of course the proprietary memory card that you can use to expand your memory on the Xbox Series S and X. They would possibly also include a $500 gigabyte Xbox Series card, which would, instead of having the only one available is the 1 terabyte. If you want to buy the 500 gigabyte card, it would presumably be cheaper than the 1 terabyte card, which is $220. So if they can get that around like $150, I guess it wouldn't be too bad.
I mean, on the other front, I think Sony just released the official firmware for the SSD stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. And it
Yeah,
seems
you were
to be.
telling me that there was a 2 terabyte SSD that's like what 460.
Yeah, or I think it was like 450. Yeah, around there.
Good God, not paying that.
But here's the thing: is like that. Like we had this argument before. I think Sony's approach is still better because there are different manufacturers of SSDs, and the prices. I mean, yes, they're high now, but they will only gradually go down as long as like components are still in stock.
I mean, to be fair, Microsoft did also say that they would eventually have third parties be able to do it. It's just right now, they don't. I don't think this is like a money thing for people. Like,
Right.
I think this is really only a problem if you have I have unlimited data, so
Yeah, so do I.
I don't.
I mean, yeah.
It doesn't bother me to just download and re-download and delete and whatever because
I mean,
it doesn't affect me. But
I guess more on your PS5. Like, are you constantly running up against storage limits?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I don't have that much stuff installed. I think I have like 12 games or so. So, I mean, I have to delete stuff occasionally, but if I deleted like Call of Duty, I'd have like 200 gigabytes free. So.
Well, yeah, Call of Duty is ridiculous. So that's different. But I mean, I have a lot of games installed on my Xbox.
Yeah, well, that makes more sense because there's much more of a library there.
Yeah.
Old library or whatever. So, or even like Game Pass.
Yeah, but the PS5, I have a lot of things installed too, and I constantly run up in space when I have to install like a new game. Like, I don't imagine Kino's going to be that big, but if I had gotten, let's say one of these other big games on there, then yeah, I probably would have run into a problem.
Yeah.
The Castlevania GBA collection got rated, which that's good. I really wanted this to come to other consoles because those are some of the best Castlevania games out there, and it'd be coming to Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and PC, so all the consoles. That's great.
Yeah,
he was the
I like
person
those.
that owns them.
Yeah, that's nice money. Well done. Well done the drain.
Yeah, it's all right. It's a collection, right?
Yeah. I like the one of them is kind of shaky, but the other two are really good. I think it's Circle the Moon that's a little hit or miss.
Right.
But the other two, like Aria Aria of Sorrow and whatever the other one is.
Dawn of something.
No, that's the DS game.
Okay. I'm thinking of it. But they all kind of came like right after each other, so
yeah,
that's why I think about them there. Platinum has a. Go ahead. Sorry.
It was a Harmony of Dissonance. That's it.
Okay, Harmony. Yep. That sounds right. Platinum has a twofer here, in that they want to bring their Star Fox game that was on the Wii U to Switch, or bringing another Wii U port over to the Switch. Of course, Miyamoto was overseeing that project as well. He was in many of the trailers and things like that, talking about the game. This was not necessarily one of the most well-received games. It was like controversial because there was people that liked it and the people that just did not at all.
It has like average reviews. It's not as dire as some Star Fox games, but yeah, I like Star Fox 64. That's kind of about it. And this was supposed to be like a modern version of that, I think. But it has like really awkward controls because I think it was like all
you had to move the screen.
It was all like gyroscope. Yeah, it's like this is terrible.
Yeah,
like
I don't want to do that. Just want to play with the controller.
Yeah,
thanks, Nintendo.
Just like Skyward Sword.
Yeah, that didn't want to have to do that either. I mean, I'd be down for seeing what they could do with it on Switch if Miyamoto was up for it.
If they just said, "Hey, this is a game on Switch. You can use it. You can use an analog stick in regular buttons," it'd be like, "All right, cool." Yeah. But it's like no, you have to play it like the Wii U version. You have to move the Switch around, as your cockpit. It's like, no, thank you.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that they would take out the whole gyroscope thing because that is in the Switch. So
I think they would have it as an option, but it wouldn't be the default one. Just like how, like, I think this, Skyward Sword technically has motion controls, with the swinging and stuff, but it's like, I don't think that's default necessarily. It's like a toggle you have to like select. So
yeah, it's weird to say that they want to like bring that. I would think that they would want to bring something else first, or
I mean,
whatever,
they don't have much else,
Yeah.
They're not going to port over.
I mean,
Anarchy
it was
Reign.
interesting to hear them say that like they want to show Bayonetta, but Nintendo basically has to decide.
Yeah.
When it's time for that or whatever. So yeah, it's really this kind of out of left field. But Kamiya also has gone on record as saying that he thinks that old, game companies need to make their older games more accessible. So that's part of that.
He's right. Well. Yeah. Like,
no, they definitely do.
But I mean, there are technical hurdles and then also interest hurdles, so.
Yeah, so apparently the voice actor behind Bayonetta, the first 2 games, British actor Helena Taylor, may not be coming back for the 3rd one, it looks like.
That would be disappointing.
Yeah, it would be. Really, like, considering...
The thing I think is, like, unless it's like a very different interpretation of the character, she should come back. I don't think she's like... I looked her up on IMDb. She's not like a hugely in-demand actress. I think like Bayonetta is like her biggest role, or like most famous role at least.
Right.
I doubt she's going like, oh, I need $5 million to come back.
I mean, she even showed up for the in the Smash Bros. And Anarchy Reigns cameos that the characters in. So,
I mean, if they are going to do like a very big retooling of the character, like what they did with not what they did, but what Capcom did with like Devil May Cry, like DMC, like that might be okay. But I think it's going to be like what Sega did with Sonic when they fired the Roger Craig Smith, and then a month later had to quickly hire him back. So, oh, we screwed up.
Yeah. Whoops. Sorry. But no, she didn't say definitively yes, but she does say that you may have to get used to it without me responding to a fan, and then she says that I can't tell you because I'm on a confidentiality agreement. So.
She'll become like Gordon Freeman, a silent protagonist.
Yeah. That wouldn't match with that character. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, sure.
See, I think like her voice work was actually really good for that character because she did like she had like a very proper like voice, but it was like very like playful, I would say. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what the issue is, but they should get her back. But unless like I said, unless it's like a very different character, then maybe not. But I doubt it. You're gonna have like the PG version of Bayonetta instead.
Yeah. So just to end the news part here, Randy Pritchford says that Gearbox is working on the next Brothers in Arms game, which he said this on the Game Maker Notebooks podcast. He said that the reason why they haven't said anything about it is because Aliens Colonial Marines was such a failure that they don't want this getting announced and then something happening. So
I really like. I mean, it's not in the full thing, but he basically tried throwing Fox and Sega under the bus for Aliens. Because he said, "Oh, Fox was so excited to show the game off, and so was Sega, so that's why they showed it off early." And it's like, no, you idiot! Like, I'm sure you could have said no if you wanted to. You were the one who was proud of it, but it's like your game, like the final game, didn't match what you showed. And
yeah, I don't get that. Like,
it's not like pre-release trailers are going to be like 1-to-1 as far as what the final game is, but they should at least try.
Yeah, I don't get this whole let's just throw people under the bus because we don't have Any other way to
Instead of
say,
instead of him just owning up to it and saying like, "Oh, we messed up," he's kind of like, "No, Fox and Sega, they were the problems with Colonial Marines." It's like, God. Do you see the rumor that they might bring Duke Nukem back?
why?
Yeah, that's like a character that like doesn't work in today's world. Even I am going to discount all the social stuff that you care about, like, or more interesting to you, like feminism, stuff like that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Not that
Leisure Suit Larry still exists.
not
right?
that it's not important, but
Right.
like, I'm just going to discount it. Duke Nukem sucked back in the day, I thought. So,
Well, what I'm saying is like Leisure Suit Larry still exists. Right?
yeah,
He's not as crude as he used to be. Right?
Yeah, there's still
like,
trash, or like
Yeah.
adult themed games, but I mean, like Duke Nukem is just such a like a relic part. It's like, please stop.
It's a relic in so many different ways. It's like not necessary.
It's a relic even aside from the personality. It's just like, oh, and Duke Nukem, you can play pool. It's like, okay, how is that fun in today's work? Today's gaming market. It was revolutionary in 1993, sure, but
yeah,
people have moved the fuck on. So
I just don't. I don't get that. Like, let's.
The title will be called Duke Nukem Even More Forever.
Sure. So let's end things with something I thought was interesting. I mean, a lot of people were talking about this, so why not? GeForce Now accidentally had a leak happen of a bunch of games that technically some of them we kind of know about, some of them have been sort of rumored, and some of them are totally like Fantasyland, right?
Yeah.
So with the caveat that GeForce Now has like acknowledged the leak, and they said that yes, it's real and everything else, but the titles are speculative. Don't be reading into this. None of this confirms anything. So that being said, some of the games that are on there, God of War, Returnal, and Demon's Souls coming to PC. God of War coming to PC doesn't surprise me. I mean, they're already releasing the Uncharted 4 and the DLC. So
I would say Returnal is kind of a small surprise, but
yeah, I mean, but I think that they don't really see like Returnal getting a lot more. Yeah, like, why not put it on PC before you put it on PS Plus?
Yeah,
and see if you can get something out of that. PC players do like roguelikes,
right?
So there's something to be said for that. I mean, and also, I mean, Demon's Souls coming to PC.
Yeah, I can see that. But it's funny because like Bloodborne is still not on PC, and that's the one everyone wants.
Bloodborne still hasn't gotten any kind of PS remaster or whatever. That's what people want really bad too. Is let's get this on PS5 the way it should look,
Yeah.
And you're not getting that. So going on to, other games, we have talked about these GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas remasters. And they've sort of been acknowledged, but not. No one's really come out and said, okay, for sure. But yeah,
I would say they're more acknowledged because they keep suing mod makers of the old games. Saying you can't distribute source code or whatever. So yeah, they're doing something with that thing with those games.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and also I should have noted at the beginning before we started talking about this, GeForce Now has been used as a way to like work from home. So like it is a way to get people to be able to work together on the same game. So that doesn't necessarily, it doesn't necessarily mean that all these games are happening or whatever, right? Some of them could be, and some of them could just be things that are
Yeah,
Like,
rumored or
yeah. So like another one, Final Fantasy 7 remake for PC. Like we know that's coming.
Yeah.
So that's not necessarily and it would make sense for them to be working on it. I mean, we're getting a year and a half out from when this game has been out. So when it came out originally.
I imagine for that one specifically, it'll be like the day that they actually announced the Final Fantasy 7 Remake 2 date, like release date or like, theoretical date. That's when it'll come out. Like, oh, we have a special surprise. Here's Remake 1 for PC, like the complete version.
Oh, you think that'll be the...
It will generate interest in part 2. That's why.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that as something to get people.
The crazy one on this list, and the one we just talked about, is Bayonetta 3 on PC. No,
I
way.
don't think it's the fact that it's coming to PC. I think it's, could you be using a PC to work on the game?
Sure.
Yeah, why not, right?
Yeah,
that's what that could mean.
But yeah,
that it's coming to PC. No, that it's being worked on for PC so they can then put it on the Switch. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Like some of these for like Halo 5 for PC, like they are kind of cagey about it.
Said no, but we'll see.
Yeah, but they also said Halo's never going to come to PC in the first place. So
yeah, they may just be saying no because they don't want to cannibalize it, like having it come out and then, oh well, Halo Infinite's coming. Or if they're going to do that, they'll release it later.
Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled on PC, like sure.
Yeah,
like I can see that.
That's far enough out. What do you think of Injustice 3 getting made when we just talked about like a Mortal Kombat? They were gonna just not make this a Mortal Kombat 12. Was going to be.
I mean, it might be old. Like you don't know how soon this is or how recent it is. Like that could have been being worked on, and then they had to kind of shelve it or pause it.
Merger and all that stuff, right?
Yeah. Or like, yeah, go on.
I mean, like a Human Fall Flat 2 doesn't surprise me at all that they're making something like that. I mean, that game is very successful for what it is. A Total War 9 coming, a Helldivers 2, that's kind of weird.
I wasn't.
That you're just all of a sudden making that, but
yeah, I guess I wasn't aware. I didn't. Did the first game do well? Like,
did decently, but that game was also like, didn't they? There was a problem and they had to take it off. I know there was an issue with Helldivers at one point or another.
Okay.
Like BioShock, it feels like it's been rumored for a long time that they were making a new BioShock.
Yeah, they talked about that. Yeah.
Could they be making a Crysis 4? I don't know. I mean,
sure.
Did those remasters sell well enough?
I doubt it. Okay. But I mean, they don't have Far Cry. So all they got is left this Crysis. So.
Yeah, I mean, like some of the other ones, like Final Fantasy 9 and Kingdom Hearts 4. I don't know. I mean, Final Fantasy 9, yeah, remake. Sorry.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say wait,
remaster. I think it is.
I could see that more than Kingdom Hearts 4. Like, I mean, what even is Kingdom Hearts 4? Like, what would you want? Would it just be more Disney shit, or would it, really going into the realm of that weird game they teased at the end?
That's what I'm wondering, right? Like, that's all they went after was that weird game they teased at the end. Like, that also could just be a placeholder because they don't have a name for it. Right, so like I wouldn't read too much into that either. I do think that some of these, obviously, they're real, and we should definitely be paying attention to them. As to like, okay, they're gonna get announced or whatever. But some of them, I don't think we need to go crazy about either. So just be aware of that.
Yeah, like you said, like the believable ones, like Final Fantasy 7. Human Fall Flat 2, possibly Helldivers 2, GTA, the remaster.
Yeah, all those games from Sony coming to PC, you could definitely see that.
But like the unbelievable ones are like Bayonetta 3, Kingdom Hearts 4,
Final Fantasy 9.
I would honestly say that Fight from Middle Earth game, like that
Yeah, I don't
They're gonna make another one of those.
think that either.
Yeah.
But hey, at least it's the nice thing is when we
Or
see things like that, it gives you things to get hyped about.
I firmly believe that Fable game will be on PC though. Maybe not
Oh
on
no,
launch,
yeah, well,
but
yeah, well,
yeah,
but that's what they're putting everything on PC.
yeah.
So of course they would. It makes a lot of sense on that front. I definitely would be weird if they didn't have Fable on PC with them putting everything else on PC. So,
Except for except for Halo, and then
well, Halo is coming out on PC, right? Halo Infinite,
I
but
did
not.
buy that Forza Motorsport 7 game.
Well, yeah, it's dirt cheap, right?
No,
I
it's
would too.
dirt gone. Like they don't sell it anymore.
Well, no, yeah, now they don't sell it, but
But I bought like the Ultimate Edition for $20,
all right, fair enough.
which is a fine enough price. Because it's weird that
Yeah,
it jumped from Forza Horizon 4 to 5.
yeah. Well,
That's that COVID thing.
exactly. Probably much harder for them to do the motorsport, but moving on. Let's end things like we always do, talking about the games that are coming between now and the next time we are going to be doing a show. Of course, should have mentioned Origami 2 is on Xbox Game Pass or on PC and PS4, PS5. So you can buy it or you can get it on Game Pass. Of course, the big game of next week, or two big games, Kena Bridge of Spirits coming on the 21st. Only a few days away. Get excited, folks, for that one. I guess there is a 002 Resurrected.
Hey man,
for folks.
I assume the other big game is Death Stranding Director's Cut, right?
Yeah, Death Stranding Director's Cut, and of course, The Lost Judgment is the game that people should really be checking out. It's getting some mostly positive reviews. I like the fact that the story is apparently a really good one. So
I guess some of the reviews I read were like they fixed a lot of Judgment 1's problems, which is nice.
yes, that's
like that wasn't a bad game at all. Like it's actually very good, but it had like certain issues that were really annoying.
Yeah.
And hey, this one includes Sonic the Fighters, which is hilarious.
It's fun.
One of the worst games ever.
So, and also, of course, like you said, Death Stranding, that big edition, and Port Royal 4 also coming.
Well,
and if you wanted to play Dragon Ball Z Kakarot on the Switch, you can also.
Please don't.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that to yourself.
Yeah.
I would also say, a nice little indie game, Teacup, is coming as well. So you maybe check that out. But no, there's some, again, this like 2-week window here in September is fire as far as like some really great stuff coming. Until you get to some things at the end of the month, and it just keeps rolling from here to December.
Yeah.
With games coming consistently at a pretty good clip. So get ready those wallets, ready those savings, I guess, if you want to buy everything, because it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. So,
yep.
But all right. Until we get to the next show, next time. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you for anybody that watched live. Thank you so much to our man there, K4, who was leaving comments and giving us some conversation. Appreciate that. And of course, if you don't watch live or watch later on YouTube or Twitch or on the Facebook page, we are also available in audio, of course. We're on everything that you can pretty much imagine: Amazon, music, Google. We mentioned the Apples, but we're on Apple. We're on everything, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, all that stuff. So go check us out, Spotify. So check us out there. And of course, you can go visit that w2net.com, visit Last Word on Gaming, And we're working on the Discord as well for the site, and all the podcasts will have their place where if you like the show, you can go visit us on Discord and then talk to us there. So whenever we have it ready, we will be sharing it in the descriptions of the show, so you can go join and everything else. So until next time, everyone, see you later.
Later.